Just wanted to start by welcoming our two new board members, Amy Story and Marianne Rogers. Thanks for coming aboard. We're glad to have you. I'm sure you have a lot of contributions to the ETC and our affiliate organizations too.
Thank you.
Are any guests to introduce? I don't think so.
I'll just introduce to Amy and Marianne. Russ Genzel is on, and Russ is our attorney from Harris Beach and sits in on all of our meetings to help guide us along, make sure we do things correctly.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the board.
Good morning.
Good morning, Russ. We'll move on then on the agenda. Do we need an executive session today?
We do to discuss the potential sale and acquisition of real property, as well as discuss the financials of a company.
Okay. Can someone have a motion to enter into executive session for those two stated purposes?
So moved. Janice.
And a second?
Second, Amy.
Okay, thanks, Amy. Mike Sepula, do you want to let us know when we are off?
We are off.
and a vote to come back out.
Okay. We are back out. We are live.
All right. Could I have a motion to enter into or to leave executive session and enter regular session?
So moved. Second, Janice.
All right. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All right. We'll move on to our next agenda item here, and it's approval of the minutes from our December 16th meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review, and are there any additions, corrections, subtractions? Okay, if they're in good shape, could I have a motion to approve the minutes from our previous meeting?
So moved, Kim.
A second?
Second, Janice.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed? All right, carried. Bill's got a message for us in the chat there.
Yeah, I got it. His mic's
Okay.
not working.
All right. Our agenda item number 4 here. Are there any changes to the agenda?
I see him on the chat right here.
Yeah, under action items, I guess it'd be number 5. Authorization to sign purchase and sale contract.
Okay, we'll have that as item 5. Is there anything else to change?
I don't believe so. Yeah, we do not need, we can eliminate item 3, which is the pending pilot application.
Okay. Anything else?
I don't think so.
All right. That takes us to our finance report. Doreen, can you take us through that?
Yep. Just make sure I am muted. I have total checks today of $762,761.09. The majority of that is the Empire Pipeline pilot, which is $709,320. So that check's been deposited, checks written to the municipalities for that. I don't know if anybody's got any questions on anything. Working through audit, we should be finishing up a few things that I owe them this week. And other than that, I don't think I have anything else.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Doreen on the finance report? All right. How about a motion to approve or accept the finance report?
So moved, Kim.
And a second?
Second, Janice.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, carried. How about the status report or the management reports? Who wants to go first? Doreen, do you have anything to add to yours?
I have nothing to add. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
So, how about Mike Sepola?
The only comment that I'd like to add is relative to the last point on pilot oversight client audit. This client audit is separate from the financial audit performed by Bonadio. Every year we go out to our client base and we solicit job and other information in preparation for a report to Paris. That's it.
Okay. Thanks, Mike. Mike LaPerry? You're muted.
That would help. Thank you. I'll just give a quick update on the broadband committee again for Marianne and Amy. I'm sure you've heard that the county's been awarded a $10 million Reconnect grant through USDA. The grant's to help increase broadband services to the unserved portion of Yates County. So we have a lot of people that are underserved. The grant's right now just for the unserved, and then we're going to create some strategic plans to help get 100% broadband across the county as soon as we can. I do sit on the advisory committee that was set up through the county. We're currently in the process of finalizing a service agreement with internet service provider. I can't disclose who that is at this point, just because of non-disclosure agreement. In order to proceed with the rest of the process, we do need to get that service agreement executed, submit it to USDA for their review. So we're working as quickly as we can to make sure that that agreement meets everybody's needs, serve the county residents properly, and also establish the best relationship with that ISP provider in the county that we can. While we're finalizing that, we're also working with some engineering firms to select which firm we want to go with for design of the infrastructure. The way the grant is set up, we're not allowed to use the same internet service provider to provide the engineering. So we do have to locate or select another firm to do the engineering, but they'll work closely with the ISP to make sure that everything's going forward in the best way possible for, again, the county as well as the internet service provider. So we're doing that concurrently, make sure that an agreement is ready to go as soon as the USD gives us the green light. That way we can push towards the engineering design phase and ultimately construction. So it's a good group that we're working with, making progress. Probably slower than some people would like, but that's only to make sure that that everything is going forward in the proper direction. Any questions on the broadband?
Mike, did you say it was a loan or a grant from USDA?
It's a grant. So the USDA awarded just over $10 million, and then there is a match from the county. So with that match, the total investment is upwards of just over $14 million to build out, and depending on the take rate, so how many households do sign up for the service, it could be anywhere from 1,000 to around 3,000 potential new households that are lit from the grant. And then it provides infrastructure, which hopefully we can build off for the future. We have the asset to leverage some more build out down the road.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Mike. Steve, you want to go through your portion?
Yeah, I got a couple things to add. As soon as we're off this meeting, the New York State Economic Development Council January meeting conference is going on. We'll join to that. Had our board meeting. I sit on that board. Had that yesterday. One of the things that the executive director went over was the current legislations and bills that are in going through the various either assembly or the Senate, and there's been 42 bills related to IDA reform introduced already this year. But I guess the good news of that is none of them are new bills. There's nothing. Most of them are, I believe, my opinion, and obviously I'm not an independent reviewer of this. They're nuts, but they're not really new. Most of them, some of them are good. Some of them are pro economic development. Most of them are not. Those that are not seem to be coming from basically the same two individuals. Primarily, I think it's an assemblyman from, I think it's Orange County. But Skoufis, I think.
Yeah, Skoufis.
Yeah, he's something. He must not have a good relationship with the economic developers down there, because it's they almost all have his name associated with it. But anyways, I'm presenting tomorrow on one of the panels, just going over it's Pilots 101, because there actually has been a pretty big turnover in leadership throughout the state for different economic development organizations. In fact, I was referred to the other day, and it still stings as the old guard, and I don't know when that happened, because I don't view myself that way. But apparently, I'm I'm the only one that doesn't view it that way. So,
Welcome to the club, Steve.
yeah, I don't know what the hell happened there, but I'm not all that pleased by it.
Oh, that made me feel so good. You made my day. Thank you.
Good. I'm glad someone did over that. The only other things I'll add is that it's kind of interesting. I think that we talk about the struggle getting employees and such, but one of my favorite reports to always dive into and then try to counter is ACT of Rochester. The Community Foundation does their report cards every year of the 9 counties in the Rochester Finger Lakes region. Again, I think there might be 3 actual Finger Lakes in ESD's Rochester Finger Lakes region, but maybe there's 4. I don't know. Anyways, within it, they've updated. This was actually, I don't know if it's 2020's card, so I don't know if I assume they're looking back, but some of the neat items, we were again, since 2001, we're up 46% in manufacturing jobs, which is a huge increase, especially when taking into account that the region has lost 36% of their manufacturing jobs in that same period of time, and the state has lost 34%. In that same time, the nation has lost 20%, but we're up 46%. And it in the call out, it says it stands in stark contrast to the losses elsewhere. The only other county that had an increase was Orleans County, which went up 25%, and they got like special recognition for going up 25%. We're just kind of tossed to the side again, which is what drives me nuts about those report cards, but that's a different battle. We were also up 58% over that same period of time in our financial activities jobs, 23% in construction, and 16% in agriculture. And then from a tourism perspective, $2,700 per person in tourism revenue. That's double the region's average. And it's number 1 in the region. We're the only county outside of New York City that's above the state average. So our tourism stays strong. In fact, we've had a 77% increase in tourism revenue per capita since 2005. So lots of good metrics showing all the growth, and I can get these data points to you. Lots of good points going the right direction, but also does call into account the challenge for labor that we all struggle to find here. So things head in the right direction, and it's kind of neat to see an independent review of which I've argued about for a while, and how they go about analyzing that data. So but stuff's good. So anyways, that's all I had. I will take any questions if there are any.
Okay, any questions for Steve? All right, thank you everyone for your additions to the report. We'll move on to the action items here, and our first item is the revised budget approval.
So I think it was sent out to you, and it had probably a wrong column, so you can't tell what changed. But we had passed our 2021 budget. Just remember, the state makes us do that pretty early in the year. We revised it based off of the Personnel Committee's decisions on salaries. So we to get to a positive net perspective on the budget, we had to change our agency fees. So if you're looking at the budget, our agency fees, we increased by just $10,000. That more than covered the difference in the expenditures, which increased under salary line item 9,000 and 9,001 salaries and employees benefits and taxes, which increased. I didn't break down the exact dollar figures, but roughly 6,000 in salaries and 1,500 in benefits and taxes. So those are the 3 items that change. Obviously, that impacts the total expenditures, but those numbers you can see below. We actually have our net operating surplus increased from $1,811 to $3,929 under the budget. So we need to revise that and have that uploaded to the state site.
Okay, thanks, Steve. And the only thing I'd add to that is the increase to the agency fees seems well supported. The budget is a fair amount above the budget that we had last year, but it's well below what the actual results were from last year and about $50,000 less than what agency fees came in at last year. So that's a well supported budget and a realistic budget figure with the projects that are lined up so far this year. So
yeah, that's a good point. We got 3 or 4 projects we're waiting to close on any week that will support that.
Get it off to a good start for the year. So are there any other questions for Steve on this item? Okay, with that, can we have a motion to approve?
So moved. Amy?
Okay,
Seconded,
thanks,
Kim.
Amy. A second. Kim, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, got Bill's vote too, so thank you, Bill. All right, and that's carried. We'll move on to the next item, which is the loan collateral change. Mike, can you make a proposed resolution for us?
Yep. Bigelow Avenue Holdings LLC is requesting a reduction in collateral. They've requested that we remove the UCC filing on Architectural Concrete Plus. The assets or the remaining collateral would be a mortgage on 76 Water Street and personal guarantees from majority owners Aaron Moltrip and Robert Hartman. The motion that the board will make would be contingent upon receiving approval from or recommendation from the loan review committee to reduce the collateral.
Okay, thanks. Mike, any questions on that to the board? All right, can we have a motion to make that motion?
So moved, Janice.
Seconded, Kim.
Thanks.
Thanks, Kim.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, carried. We're skipping removing from the agenda the pending pilot application, so we'll move on to the pending Cuca outlet development item.
So Chris Iverson is ready to move forward now with development of the former Pena Boats property after a long wait from getting approval for the condo plan. Because it's been such a long time, costs have changed. So just giving you an update on what those changes are. In our last approval was actually in 2017. At that time, the total project cost was about $18.5 million to build 42 condominiums. The project, its scope itself hasn't changed. It's still to build 42 condos. But the 18, basically just shy of 18.6 million has now gone up to $25,149,000. So it's a pretty significant increase in capital expenditures and project costs to do this. The cost upgrades came from construction costs themselves, went up basically $2.5 million. So the actual construction costs are at $15,730,000 now from what they were. They were 13.2 before. So they went up about $1.5 million. Infrastructure costs went up $500,000 from $2 million to $2.5 million. And then soft costs jumped up a lot. And I'll talk to Chris, see what's involved within that. But they went from $1 million projected to $4.5 million. So costs have escalated over that period of time. The proposed benefits to Chris, to the Cuca outlet development, the two that have gone up would be in the sales tax savings. So the proposed sales tax exemptions he would receive now equal $810,400. That's up from $520,000 before. So it's a pretty big jump in sales tax proposed savings from him. And the mortgage tax went up to $60,000 in proposed exemption from what was proposed to be 57,640. So it didn't change much, but in the final paperwork, it said 37,640. I don't know if that was a typo, but either way, mortgage tax now is at 60,000 for savings. Sales tax, 810,400 in savings. The odd one was back in 17, we had a proposed property tax abatement of 657,195. We are now proposing that total tax benefit would be just shy of $180,000. And the reason for that big decline in total savings is a better awareness and understanding of how condominium property taxes work and how the pilot itself is going to work. So as the pilot is set on the entire property, and as he's building these condo units in probably fours, each one, there's kind of like quads that are going up, if you will. And so the pilot will be on, and as he builds them, right, so that first section will have the pilot associated with it there as well. So he won't pay any additional property taxes on those units. As they sell, this unit gets removed. It gets removed from the pilot itself. So then it's no longer, he's not receiving benefits on it. So he only receives actual benefits on the pilot while he's holding sort of unsold inventory, right? The unsold units that he builds. And he's going to build kind of like 4 at a time or 8 at a time here. So it's not like he's going to hold them for a long period of time. And of course, as a condo, or maybe not, of course, I shouldn't say that, condos are valued anywhere near as high. So the total savings has declined. He's only got 7 years left on the original pilot agreement anyways, and that isn't changing. So the schedule is going to stay the same. And to be honest, to even get to this 180,000 in property tax savings, we kind of front loaded all of we escalated his building time frame. Like, so we have him building it much quicker than a conservative value, and then delayed or decreased the sales of them to just have as long of a holding period as we thought was reasonable, but then would show the highest total savings for him just to sort of buffer ourselves and the state from coming back and say he's received more benefits than originally projected. So he gave us his plan, which showed when he was going to build them and when he thought he'd sell them. We shortened his time frame to build. We said he was going to build them quicker than he originally said he would, and then we lowered the expectations of when they would sell, just to have him carry a higher benefit cost to protect ourselves and insulate. So I think the 180,000 is actually higher than what he'll actually receive in benefits. But that's the way to side for New York State, because they get angry if a project receives more in the way of benefits than what was approved by the board here. So we've talked about it in length with him and his attorney and Russ and I over this. Again, the scope of the project as far as what's getting built has not changed. All that has changed is the length of time to get these things built, and therefore the cost of which to do so. So we're back in front of the board. Basically, we do have to, he is asking for a sales tax extension. His original sales tax certificate expired. He asked me numerous times along the way to have it renewed, and I wouldn't, because I didn't see a need to. We knew he didn't have approval yet from the state, so why have it just sitting out there? So now he's ready to go. In fact, he's been pushing me for probably 3 weeks to get him that letter. So we're, which is great, but that's a positive. He's finally ready to build these. So we do need to have his sales tax extension for him as well. But and then I'll let Russ guide us through whatever approvals we need from a board perspective, more or less just acknowledging the difference in costs here now.
Yeah, maybe first if there's any questions, and then I can attempt at least anyway to present what is being asked of the board. that's okay, Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, please go ahead, Russ.
Yeah, so this would be a resolution of the board authorizing, what's the name of the entity, Steve? I just don't recall the exact name of the entity off the top of my head.
Cuca Outlet Development.
Authorizing the Cuca Development Outlet project to increase the sales tax to up to $110,000, as Steve noted, from $520,000. The mortgage recording tax exemption from $57,000 to $60,000, and extending the duration of the period for which they can use the sales tax exemption through the proposed construction period, which Steve it's pretty long.
It's pretty long. I think we go out to 5 years. That's longer than we have before, but I think it's warranted in this case.
Yeah, so a 5-year extension, and I agree, a 5-year extension of the period under which he can use the sales tax exemption. So I would say through December 31, 2026. And I will memorialize this, assuming the board all approves this within a resolution, Steve and Mike, so you guys have it, a piece of paper to put in your records. And really, that's it. It's just that, like Steve noted, there's been no material change in the actual scope or footprint of the project, just cost increases and delays.
Okay, so are there any questions for Russ or anything before we ask for a motion here? Okay, could we have a motion for those actions as presented by Russ?
So moved, Amy.
Seconded,
Thanks,
Kim.
Amy. Second by Kim. So this will be a roll call. I don't know if Doreen can unmute and take us through the roll call.
Yep. Ryan,
Aye.
Kim,
Aye.
Janet,
Aye.
Mary Ann Rogers,
Aye.
Bill, Mike Bates.
He says yes.
Yes. He texted or he chatted yes.
Yep. Amy.
Aye.
Okay, sorry, I missed that.
Okay, so I think that's everyone.